Here chatting with Staxx.
Welcome to this episode of Chatting with Staxx. I'm your host, Bill Staxx, and today I got Gavin Goode. What's up, man?
Hey, what's going on, Staxx? How you doing, boss?
I'm doing great, man. So I really appreciate you taking the time coming on my show. You're a really talented artist, man. Like your art is really good.
I appreciate that, boss. I take it pretty serious, man. Thank you.
Yeah, I see that.
I dig your content too. I love checking it all out.
Thank you, man. I really appreciate that. There's like a cross promotion we can do together. We have similar thoughts, I think.
I can dig it.
So you have an incredible career as an artist, man. A lot of artists don't even get the opportunity to sell a piece of art until they pass away or they're phenomenal artists. You have a grind and a persistence similar to me. The way I keep plugging along at this, I'm trying to get somewhere with it. So did you feel ever where you were at a point where you wanted to give up at it or anything like that?
Yeah, I mean, every day presents its own new challenges, you know, like waking up every morning and then trying to invent your job. You know, it's fairly stressful, but I mean, you got to keep the lights on. I have no choice. I've had this company for almost 19 years now, so there's no looking back. This is what we're doing. I'm very persistent, like you said.
When you take that leap into working for yourself, how terrifying is that?
What I did is I had like a standard commercial and residential design company, and I like to say that my brushes started getting smaller. So I'd start off and I'd just, you know, help design and build these restaurants. They say, hey, we like some stripes or some circles. And then it was like, hey, could you put the name of our company in? And then it just slowly got down to where the brushes are super tiny. So I was pretty smart in the way that I made that transition. But thank God because I was in the service, thank God I have VA healthcare. That would have made things a lot harder. But yeah, after 19 years, you know, it's not any easier.
Because I started with this media stuff, man. I was in the streets. I was in and out of prison for a long time. I never had a grounded, really, like I am now. Like I wake up in the morning, I'm editing. I'm always constantly evolving, trying to get better at my craft. And there's no looking back. Like you said, I don't have any plan Bs. You know what I'm saying?
Sure, yeah. I had somebody tell me that I was clinically unhirable. And I'm like, what's that mean? And they said, you couldn't work for a company even if you wanted to after this long. So you might as well just lock in on what you're doing and move forward. That really helped me a lot. That helped get rid of a lot of demons in my brain. So that was some good advice for me.
So your paintings, I wanted to talk to you about that. Do you remember the first piece? I remember you said that you were painting a horse, I think it was, on a wall, right?
I was painting these big life-size horses in the middle of Louisville, Kentucky, downtown. I just drug it out and started painting it out in the public just to see if anybody would dig it. And yeah, that's when this bus pulled up with Cameron Crowe and Orlando Bloom, and they asked me if I wanted to be in their movie, and it's called Elizabethtown. So me and my nephew went down and did the whole audition thing, and by the time I ended up being Orlando Bloom's body double, photo double, stunt double for that. And by the time the movie was over, they had me set up with 5 other movies. I went directly from there and filmed Walk the Line in Memphis, Syriana with George Clooney. Then we went up to did Annapolis in Philadelphia, and XXX, Wild Hog. They just had me set up with a bunch of these things. Wild Hogs, Rocky Balboa. It was
So
luck of the draw.
when you did that one movie, what the Walk the Line, what were your roles to do in that movie?
So my end to this was I was a former military police officer in the Marine Corps. So as a technical advisor, they would say, hey, do these servicemen and women, are they dressed correctly? I'd be like, no, that ribbon is on the right side and it's too far over. The sideburns are too low. The mustache is too big. And I also knew sort of how the police officer uniform looked as well, because sort of dabbled in that. And so instead of, I was getting all these technical advisor roles. So instead of constantly getting me off of the screen, they just say, hey, you know what? You're in the movie. You just hang tough, and we'll ask you when we need to. And then they dress me up. They put hats and glasses and different things for me. So it was just a fun experience.
You can't really tell the difference, right? They try to
my parents didn't recognize me in half of these movies.
Wow.
They have a good makeup and hair department.
Yeah, and they shoot you from different angles, right?
All different angles, different scenes have different wardrobe. It's a big process.
So you were doing stunts.
Yes.
Did you ever have a stunt where you're like, wow, this is a little sketchy?
I got to smash through the front door of a mansion about 10 times. That was pretty slick. Then Samuel L. Jackson kills me at the end of XXX Part 2. Got to drive motorcycles north of LA with Ray Liotta and Wild Hogs. That was amazing.
Ray Liotta, man, absolute legend.
There yeah. That's on a piece of 4-foot steel. I do a lot of paintings on steel with automotive paints, so that takes those take a long time to dry.
It looks really cool, though.
Thanks.
It's really cool, man.
Looks great.
And it glows, right, in the dark.
Yeah, so I make a lot of folks don't know that I make a lot of my own colors. I mix my own pigments in, and I use a lot of layering, so different lights that shine on it will change it different colors. Daylight, black lights, just different lights change different things.
So you really experiment with a lot of different techniques of painting, right? You're not just a regular, I'm just going to paint this on the canvas.
Sure.
And that's it.
I'd say my specialty is I can paint on any surface. So the paint that you would use on steel or copper would be different than the paint you would use on wood or canvas. I can paint humans, motorcycles, the floor, just whatever you have, I'll figure it out.
And you just paint it off your head, or do you have to look at something?
I use every tool and every cheat humanly possible to make my job easier. I used to be like a very purist and like, hey, I'm going to do this here. Now I just don't have the luxury or the hand strength to sit there all day long and make sure. So I'll use everything to my ability except for stencils and airbrush. I use 0 stencils and 0 airbrush. Everything is done traditionally by hand.
And like these straight lines, do you use the tape?
Yeah, I'll tape that off for sure.
That's not a stencil, right?
I mean, like, I guess it depends who you ask. But no, I don't cut out his face or anything. Yeah, you can use grids, you can use projectors, you can use backlights, it just depends, you know. I like to think that Da Vinci would, instead of spending 30 years on one piece, would speed things up a little bit.
So did you ever present one of these paintings to Mr. Ray Liotta?
No. So I filmed Wild Hogs in 2005, I think. And that was the last, like, I'll see these folks for a couple of weeks, 3 weeks, a month on set, and then never see them again. But it would have been cool to get it in front of me.
Yeah, man, definitely.
We're doing a piece for Mark Wahlberg. It's the second piece I've done for those folks right now. I'll take that up to him in Detroit here in about 3 weeks.
Yeah, the boxer photo of who was
Joe Louis.
Joe Louis, yeah.
Joe Louis, the Brown Bomber.
That's a really cool painting, man.
Thanks.
Can you walk me through the process of when someone calls you and says, I want a painting? Can you walk me through the process, start to finish, on what you do?
What's your budget? Like, let's just cut through the bullshit right now. What do you want to spend on it?
Say
And
they
then
tell you $2,000. I got
sure,
two
all right.
grand,
When do you need it by?
1 month.
Doable. What are you thinking? So I'm really good at figuring out my client's needs. And let's say, okay, we'll take Ray Liotta, for instance. I want Ray Liotta laughing. Okay, do you have any specific colors you like or specific colors you don't want? Do you want it on canvas, copper, steel? What size would you like? So I have all these qualifying questions that I go through. Then I'll pull up a couple designs, get a couple designs for them, submit it to you, and you say, I like this, change this, move this, I'll redesign it. So by the time it is time for me to start painting, you and I are 100% on board with the image. So that's it in a nutshell.
Have you ever had somebody where you paint it and they're like, no, 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 no?
No, I charge everybody 100% up front, and I don't stray from the design I've submitted to you. So if you say, hey, I don't like this, I'm like, well, this is what you wanted. So I'm dealing with a famous boxer right now who has jumped me through every hoop. Every time I think I have my ass covered, there's something else that pops up. I'm like, so we'll see what happens. I'm going to go see Mr. Holyfield here in a couple of weeks, and we'll try to get this thing dialed in. But it's been a year process, so that's the longest that I've dealt with a client to try to get something off the ground. But it'll be worth it if we can figure it out.
See, me, when I do the interviews, I edit them. I try to make them as best as I can. Well, I probably can do better, but I put in a lot of effort to them. And I do not show the people the interviews before they're released, because then they will nitpick them apart. Yeah. And I just cannot do it. It's too much.
Yes. Yeah. Like, so basically we're doing this. This is your project, and I've done what I can do for that. And, you have to turn that over to the rest of the creative process, and just trust that, I love working with folks and just seeing what comes out of that. You have to let go of that creative control a little bit.
Yeah, and see where you can take it, right?
Yeah.
So when you first started as a painter, what are some of the challenges you faced?
I guess building the reputation and the brand, trying to convince folks, hey, buy some of my art, contract me. And they're like, sure, let me see your portfolio. Well, I was an actor, or well, I was in the service. I don't really. So getting that off the ground, the budget to cranking out a half a dozen pieces for folks to check it out. So then eventually we do photo shoots of every single piece. Every single piece I do has a full photo shoot. Okay, cool. Well, that's costing me $500 a piece. So I went and bought the photography company. So now I can take everything in-house. It's just slowly building that up over the years. That's why it's taken 19 years, really. I didn't start getting these big, like Snoop Dogg and Usher and Billy Ray. I didn't start getting those jobs until about 4 or 5 years ago.
When you really were putting your foot on the gas and taking it serious, right?
Absolutely.
And I understand what you're saying about trying to keep everything in-house. I spend a lot of money on cameras and different things, microphones and suits and everything, man. It adds up. I'm
surrounded by all of that here. Yeah.
And I love it, though. It's like it's a grown-ups playland pretty much, right?
It is like an awesome clubhouse. I work with some super talented folks sitting in the other room right now. They're probably going to clown me because I'm wearing like these shorts with this shirt. But yeah, it's called LDR Studios. You should check it out. We have a full audio, video, photography company in here, and a lot of creative folks doing a lot of fun things.
And you have people come there and do their projects, right?
For sure. I'm hoping to get you in here, man, and we can do something fun.
Definitely. I have a movie that I wrote called The Commission. We'll talk about it after we're done with this. I think you'll really like that, man.
No doubt.
So what's an average day like for you? You wake up in the morning, what do you do?
Wake up, work out, get to the studio as fast as humanly possible. And so right now I have 4 different work days. I have 4 projects going at once. So if
Are they all paint? Are they all painting projects?
Yes.
In the base?
Yeah. So it helps to start off with a little bit easier things. And then a few hours in, then I can switch to the smaller stuff. And like we were talking off air, sometimes my ADD kicks in and I'll have a hard time concentrating. Okay, cool. And we'll just worry about prepping canvas, or we'll worry about cleaning the studio, or there's always any progress is progress. There's always something that can be done. And I'll go as hard as I can. I work 6 days a week, Sundays off. And, when my hands start cramping or I can start seeing my lines getting out of whack, I get the hell out of there.
Try to get your brain cleared out, right?
For sure. I can't tell you how many times I've come back to the studio and looked at something and been like, oh, I got to fix all that.
Hey man, I used to have I didn't do anything with myself, I wasn't trying to progress and do better things. I was just existing. I wasn't living. And now that I'm sober and I'm able to see the writing on the wall, it's really a different experience, and I love it, man.
Yeah, that comes with age, like at some point we have to look in the mirror and be like, oh, nobody's going to do this thing but us. And, I think I hit that a while back. And, it's good to have pride and integrity in what you're doing.
Do you have any crazy stories with any of these celebrities that you have met over the years?
I'll tell you, Ray Liotta's hilarious. I'll give you a Ray Liotta story. So we're filming in LA. It was during Christmas and it was freezing. The stop signs had icicles hanging off of them. And Ray is the only one out there. He had Jeff Gordon's trailer. So he was letting all the rest of us bikers, hang out, because I was a Del Fuego. I was a bad guy in the biker that he was the head of. And folks would come up and be like, hey, Mr. Liotta, can we get a picture with you? And he'd go, sure. And they'd go, 3, 2, 1. And then he'd look away as soon as they flashed the camera. And we just died. He was a cool cat. George Clooney, like they say how he pranks and plays jokes, that's 100% true. He'd come and film a whole day with a giant mustache on. And like we'd have to, that was it all day. Like, and then they'd have to reshoot all of that.
And you're trying not to laugh, right?
Yeah, like he'd come up to you and do this. And they're all interesting. James Franco is a super cool, down to earth guy. Orlando Bloom's very nice guy. Samuel L. Jackson was funny. Basically, just putted all day long in between takes.
What's good, everybody? Welcome to Chatting with Staxx. So, if you guys enjoyed that interview, I got Gavin Goode live.
Hey,
what's good, man?
How you doing, boss? That was awesome, man.
Thanks, man.
I can do
it. Man.
Where are you at? Are you in my studio?
Yeah. You like that? I'm back at your studio while you're on the road.
I love it. That's awesome.
Yeah, man. So how's your trip going? How's things going for you?
Everything's going good, man. I'm down here in Louisville killing some time. I head back to Indy. Then we go back to Detroit to do the Mark Wahlberg, Evander Holyfield thing, and just sort of buzzing around for the next couple months. All the work's done. Time to have some fun.
That's awesome, man. Hell yeah. Yeah, it's good to get out there and enjoy yourself, after all the hard work you put in. I see you grinding, man.
Man, I wear gross clothes 3 months straight, and then I get to wear some good ones for like 2 weeks. So like, man, it's good to finally have some fun and get out here on the road.
Yeah, you wear a bunch of different hats too, right? Like,
I try, well, I mean, if you're an entrepreneur, you're the creator, you're the marketing, you're the advertising, you're the everything, like I'm not saying nothing, nobody, but my new hat might be doing something with you, is putting together like a little TV show, maybe, man. What are you thinking? You liking that idea?
definitely, man. You already know I'm down to grind it out.
You want to let's sit on it for a minute and then drop it to them. Oh, look, I just got here, man.
Hey, man, enjoy yourself.
Oh, yeah.
As long as it's not Bud Light, man. All right, it's Michelob time and shit.
Oh, shit. Oh, hell yeah. Cheers, brother. Hey, man.
Yeah, man, definitely. I don't drink no more, but I'll drink a soda here and there,
I can dig it. That's my next thing I need to conquer, like I'm trying to stair step my way up there, but right now I got to keep my nipple.
Hey, man, I enjoyed myself for many, many years with alcohol, but I'm just on a different path now, I got sober and then went and worked at a strip club as a DJ. So it's like, who does that? You go get sober and then next thing you know, there are drinks everywhere, women, money. I'm like, what the fuck did I get myself into?
Sounds awful.
Yeah, it was terrible, man.
Oh yeah.
But you live and you learn, man.
I can dig it.
So how is it out there in Indy? I've never been out there.
Oh yeah, you got to come out to. So Indianapolis is one of like the top, maybe largest cities in America. I think maybe 15, 18. Don't quote me on that. I don't remember, but you got to come out for the Indy 500, man. We'll show you around there, and then come down here. I'm in Louisville right now. I'm about a half a mile away from where the Kentucky Derby is, and if you guys just Google some old things, like I don't miss a year. I go to every Derby and every Indy 500.
That's where they wear all the big hats. They wear the big hats, right? With the horse races.
Yeah, they do. They definitely wear the big hats. It's a crazy experience. They're completely different from each other, So, like, you want to come kick it with me, man? You absolutely be my guest for sure.
Yeah, definitely, man. I'll come out there and hang out, 100%.
Oh yeah.
I'm getting crazy static on this end. Nate, what's up, man? How you doing? Can you guys hear the static or no? Or is it just me? I think I got cross wires in the studio, man.
I'm in a Legion in Shively. It's a little city sort of south of Louisville. This is we just pulled over. We were talking earlier. I pulled over, threw everything together, and jumped on. I'm pretty excited, man. This is the first time I've done one of these satellites.
Yeah, man. I figured, hey, you might as well, if you're available. I figured jump on right after the first installment of the series that I'm gonna do, because I have more coming of that interview that we did, and people are going to like it. There's a lot of information on there, and you told some good stories.
Man, we are going to do some cool stuff in the future. I can tell just by the way we vibe and the things that I brought to the LDR Studios guys. Like, everybody's really excited. I want to tell them, but I don't want to tell them. So, like, we'll sit on it for a minute and then maybe drop something here in the next, week or two.
Yeah, man, trust me, it'll be worth it. Static isn't on your side, Staxx. It's on Gavin's side.
Oh.
Of course.
Yeah, because like I'm in a bar. Yeah,
it could be from the other people's cell phones, reception, or whatever. But yeah, man, I'm gonna get on editing part 2 I think I'm already halfway through it. I'm gonna get on editing part 2. We're gonna get some things going, and sky's the limit, man. And where can they find your paintings for all the people who want to reach out? Because I know a lot of people have seen your paintings, and they're incredible, man. And you have a waiting list. Like, how does that go? Can people just reach out to you?
Anybody can reach out to me. I'm at Simperfly Studios across the board on social media. Simperflystudios@gmail.com. And then it's just basically Simperfly Studios. And yeah, I have a waiting list, but I mean, most good artists do have a waiting list. So just get on the list. I'll figure out what you're wanting to do. Figure out the size, the medium, the subject matter, how long I think it'll take. We'll work it out. There's no reason why I can't work with a new client. So like, I'll bend over backward. I love meeting new folks. So man, I appreciate
you,
you,
man. Definitely, man. Well, yeah, I'll leave a link in the description if you guys want to check out his art and go to his Facebook and all the rest of this stuff. Hey, man, I appreciate you taking the time out of your day and coming on here.
Thanks, Staxx, man. I appreciate you having you.
Definitely, man. If you guys like this type of content, make sure you hit the like, subscribe, and notification bell so you can get my videos every time they drop. And if you don't, too bad. Start your own podcast. And remember, don't be a bitch. Peace. Later, man.